Okay, so our shop has always been a little bit ghetto. We're gradually making upgrades. We're gonna get a few new cool things. We're getting our press set up and some other cool things in general. But there are some things that have just always been a little bit sus. Okay, the first thing we have is this table. This table came with the place when we first bought it. It was mounted to the wall, so my old roommate put on these legs. They're not proper at all. It's a lot jank. Like I'm a little afraid that it's just gonna tip over and fall and things are just gonna break. This is actually way cleaner than it's ever been in years. Like all of this junk around here was on the table. Like nothing is straight or flat or structurally sound on it, but we had it. It's also the weirdest shape ever too. Like it's a square with this weird skinny extension on it.
Yeah.
I cannot explain. Jank rating, what would you say?
This one's pretty bad. I would say like a 3.
3 out of 10 for jank?
I think so.
10 meaning maximum jank.
No. I was thinking jank is like
Jank
10
is low?
10 is good and jank is like 1.
Oh, okay. So it's a scale of like greatness, basically.
Yeah.
3. Okay. I'd agree with 3.
Yeah. Like these legs.
Yeah, get the legs and get like the surface of it.
Like that's not really on there. And then the surface of it is just like 2x4s laid down.
We're changing our scale. 10 is maximum jank. 0 is perfectly normal and organized and proper.
Okay. So
This is 7 out of 10 jank.
okay. Cool.
All right, these are kind of Sam's creations.
Yeah. These are our brooches. I did a little short about this one where I kind of gave it a glow up, but it's still like just a random chunk of mesquite
Hang on.
that we drilled a hole in and shoved a handmade brooch in there.
I think I'm gonna explain a little backstory. I needed a tool to broach out like the cavity of a hidden tang, and I just told you to make one. I was like, just come up with something and make a handle. And you grabbed that piece of wood from the yard, I think, or
Yeah,
something. I don't even know
something.
where you got
Yeah.
it. It had the bark and everything. You barely shaped it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's just an piece of wood. And then this guy is an piece of micarta, right?
Yeah, I think that was
Canvas
just a
stuff.
cut off, and clearly we used it as like a bandsaw push stick or something.
Yeah, and you can see our miscut. Like our bandsaw got wonky and it just cut into there and we couldn't use this piece, so it became a brooch.
Yeah, the problem is we needed brooches that were super skinny because the ends of the tangs get really skinny
Yeah.
on kitchen knives. And you can't, I don't think you could buy a brooch that has like a little tiny tip like that. So they're pretty jank.
They work though.
They do work.
So jank scale wise, I would give them like, 10 is bad. So
10 is bad.
I'd give them like a 4, just because they're functional. That
Jankness.
that table I guess is functional, but it's way more ghetto than these. Like these actually, we use these a lot. We don't just pile shit
Onto them.
onto them.
I'm gonna say 6 out of 10.
Really, that bad?
I mean, look at them. For our handle finishing, we use True Oil, and historically, we've just bought in the bottles. We use a little bit, and then it just completely hardens because you've opened the bottle and air gets in there. You just buy this bottle for like 30 bucks, and then the whole thing just turns into a brick of hardened, cured oil.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I found it, but somebody was like, oh, just get one of those bags made for oil and stuff like that. And this is it. So you just use it and you squeeze out the air, and it helps prevent the oil from like Look at that. Reduces evaporation and oxidation. The oil is still in there, but there's like sections of it that have hardened a little bit.
Yeah,
and
there's
it
like
just-
a lattice work of hardened.
Oh. If you're squeamish, don't look. We should give that warning at first.
Yeah,
It's just,
it looks like sinew.
it does look like sinew. It's
And the
oil
reason it's
sinew.
like that is pretty soon into this thing's lifespan, the cap broke.
Yeah, the threads are,
So the whole point,
there's like no threads anymore. The cap is the weakest point. I think the cap came broken. There were
I don't
never
know.
threads.
Yeah, something.
We just,
But it's been like this for years, and the whole point is that the oil won't dry in there, and clearly,
we
the
just
oil
shove the
has
cap
dried.
on there, and then we rely on the oil drying to keep the
to
cap
seal
on
it.
there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna need a new bag soon, but it's probably gonna last us another 2 years, just as is.
That's true.
I mean, this supply has lasted us like 5 years, even looking like this, even with the cap not functioning. Like, all we do to prevent it from spilling is we just lay it down like that. I don't know. It's functional. It is sus. It's very sus.
I'm gonna give this one an 8. It's barely working.
8. That's higher than the table.
It's slowly ruining the oil, and it barely works.
What are you talking about? We've been using this oil for like 5 years.
I know, but the table holds shit. This is like,
The table is a safety risk.
it's been really bad for way too long. I think it's like an 8.
I was gonna say 6. You were
Okay.
gonna say 8. Okay.
All right.
We'll let the audience be our final decider. Next.
These are our. What would you call these? Clamping fixture buffer things.
We're
like
it's
this
I
guy
call it a
here.
half magazine.
Yeah, it's a half magazine. It literally is a half a magazine just folded, and that's it. And so say your knife is like wrapped in magazine paper, but you really don't want it to like move around in the fixture or get scratched up. We'll stick it in this thing. And like say you want to hand sand the choil, you clamp it in the vise, and this is like another layer of buffer between your finish on the blade and your knife. And also it serves a function too where your knife is tapered like down the length.
Yeah, the distal taper.
And if you just try and clamp that on its own, like it'll fulcrum on the highest point of that taper.
Yep.
But if you use something that can compress a little bit,
But not too much.
not too much, but it
like the
compresses
perfect
a little
amount.
bit. Exactly. It'll clamp it down firmly, and you won't get like movement.
High tech.
What do you give it?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
To me, that's a 10 out of 10 ghetto.
I think I have to agree with you. It's never failed us. It's perfect.
How do I even preface this? This is my computer laptop station.
Yeah.
It doubles as like a standing desk because it's at the right height for my elbows to be in a good position, and
Yeah.
also like my eyesight is, and then if I use a tall stool, I can sit down, so it's perfect. Yeah, this desk came with the property. It's just a generic,
Like writing.
like the cheapest desk
Yeah,
possible. It doesn't have any rails for any of the drawers.
Oh yeah. Cheap
It's a
cheap writing desk.
like
Oh,
I
yeah.
shouldn't do that. That might collapse it. Anyways, to get the height on it, it's a box.
I forgot. Now that we're discussing it, this is really janky.
Let's see, what is this box? Oh, it's an etcher. It's an electro etcher.
Oh, okay.
We could have given that to somebody. I guess we still can,
We
but
still can, yeah.
actually it's an integral part of the desk.
Yeah, it's structural at this
We got some giant blocks of micarta that I clearly could have used to make handles for something.
Oh yeah, still
And
can.
then, Oh, this is the most precious of them all. Here, let me show you. Don't mind this desk. This is not part of the video. It's just dirty. It's not ghetto. This is an old handheld hardness tester, but this is really, really cool stuff. Like, I even forget how to use it. But yeah, it's
structural. It's an integral part of your setup.
I mean, we will use this again. But yeah, I put it back. Now the laptop's at the right height. Yep. This screen doesn't work, by the way. I dropped this laptop a long time ago.
Screen is completely busted.
Yeah, it's dead. So we got a very, very cheap reflective monitor here.
Uh-huh.
And I needed it at the right height, so we built a shelf. The shelf wasn't strong enough, so we screwed in some bamboo flooring under as a reinforcement, but clearly it's undone itself, so now it's at risk of falling at any moment.
Yep. And also, for tech people out there, it's not an HDMI, it's a fucking VGA cable. It's like old school garbage.
Oh yeah. Oh, my mouse pad. It's the little subwoofer.
Oh yeah, a little sub. Look at that.
It's the perfect height.
Got a printer?
We have organized the space in such a way that it works perfectly.
Sure does.
We had put completely finished knives in here.
It's true.
And clearly this is slow, but like if you just messed up just a little bit, you're like, oh no! Like, it could be a disaster. I think I just broke that too.
What would you give it, Don?
This is a 10 out of 10 for me. Embarrassingly.
It's 10 is jank.
Yeah, 10 is jank.
It's pretty bad. I'm gonna say 9 just because it's barely cobbled together and works, but
I think the saddest part is the etcher and the hardness tester.
Yeah.
That'll change. We're improving as makers.
That's right. We'll change it in what, 5-6 years.
Next.
Okay, so the next thing we have is our portable AC, which is attached to the grinding room with some dryer ducting. And this is how we cool the the grinding room. Did I say drying room?
Yeah.
Grinding room.
We don't have a drying room.
No, we don't. We cool the grinding room. It actually works really well. The grinding room will get like pretty dang cool in there. But the AC itself isn't that ghetto. The way it's connected is kind of ghetto. But the real feature is this cardboard structure with a bunch of like aluminum tape that we used to funnel the air through this ducting into the grinding room. And I think this is one of the first things I did, just because when I first started I wasn't any good at anything, so Don had to create jobs for me, and this was one of my first jobs. And the reason we did it is that this is the only AC we had at our old shop, and it didn't work. These things are notorious for being like really inefficient and actually heating up rooms. So what we did was we attached this, and we had a much longer tube, and we'd blow it directly on ourselves while we were grinding.
We'd hook it up to a fan.
Right, that's why we did this initially. It wasn't to fill a room, it was just to direct cold air at us as individuals.
Yeah, wow, good times.
For those that don't know, we live in Arizona, and it gets to like 115 some days in the summer, so this is our solution.
I think the most impressive thing is during July, when it's like 115 here, the grinding room actually will be the coldest room. It is very cozy in there.
But yeah, weird AC ducting.
I give that that's a 2, man.
Really?
The repurposing and your brilliant engineering here has some to be desired.
Yeah.
But it works so well. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it works so well.
Yeah, it does work.
Oh, the funniest part is the controls are still there, but there's a screen that we taped over, so we don't know what setting it's set to
Yeah.
when you turn it on, and you just kind of have to hope for the best and listen to the beeps and try to understand what the beeps mean.
Yep. I'll give it a 2. Sure.
2?
It works. Why not?
I think it's ghetto in idea, but in practice, it's amazing.
Yeah. The function of it outweighs the bizarre look of it.
And that thing is a trooper. It's never failed us. The only time it's failed us is a rodent died in it, and then we turned it on, and
It stunk. It stunk. I cleaned it out though.
he did. Yeah, I almost threw up though.
It was bad.
For anybody who watched the original first part of the Yanagi Boss series, actually, almost all the parts had straightening in it. If you haven't seen those videos, or you don't know what a carbide chisel hammer is, the premise of it is you're taking a very hard piece of material. This is much harder than the steel of the knife. You've got a sharp like wedge basically, and you hammer in little indentations. And the indentations will basically spread the material out and straighten fully hard steel. Nowadays, it's become actually pretty popular, and people are making really fancy ones. They got like nice pieces of carbide that are press fit into proper hammers. I just took a scrap piece that I got from some random hardware store that they're just like basically throwing away carbide, and we shoved it in a piece of, I'm pretty sure this wood is like from my house, like
Oh yeah.
part of the house.
It's just like a split piece of 2x4.
Yeah, we drilled a hole and just shoved it in there, and actually the first handle broke, so Sam made a new one, and then this is now splitting, but we've since reinforced it with a lot of liquid super glue. And so basically, this is now a composite. The contouring, I think this is your handle that you've contoured.
I did, yeah. Very well done.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Yeah, I'm gonna say 5 out of 10.
Why? Why 5? That's so low. Look at this anvil stand though. That's not jank.
Yeah, that's clean.
Yeah. Another revisit to an old video.
Yeah, we did a video about making fresh parallels, and
The video was not that long ago.
no, it wasn't that long ago, and these things are effed up already. But
These are the new ones.
these are the new ones. Yep. Well, I mean, this is why you don't get fancy parallels, because you're just gonna ham hog the drill through your material and mess up the parallels. So.
You want to explain really quick what parallels are?
Yeah, we use them in this vise basically to keep our whatever we're working on, handle material, whatever, level. So you stick them in there, and they're modular, right? So they can move with the vise. And you'll, take your handle material, and you'll just stick it in here with the, if I can do it right. Stick them in there, and it keeps your piece relatively flat, not perfect.
Hence parallel.
And then, you squeeze
Clamp it down, and then you drill right through into the parallels.
Right. And you do it guilt-free, because you could just make another pair of parallels 3 years down the line when they look like the surface of the moon.
I mean, you still have a lot of surface area that is
That's true.
flat-ish.
Yeah, and that's all you need. You don't need it to be perfect. Parallels. Make some for yourself. Don't buy fancy ones, because you'll just fuck them up.
Well, no, I mean, if you're doing it right, you're not going
Yeah. You could do things right, or you could do this.
I'm going to say that's it's 8 out of 10. Anybody who does any kind of machining or just drilling or fab in general, that's pretty ghetto.
It's so the ingenuity. I'm gonna give it another 5.
Okay.
They're gross and stupid, but they work kind of.
That's fair. We have a sharpening station, which is more than I'm going to say about our previous workshop. We have pretty decent stones. We got them from Japanese knife imports. But the way that they're fixtured, this is our stone holding fixture right here. It fits. Stone goes in there. There's a little bit of play, but it's fine.
Yeah.
This is bamboo flooring
Yep.
that
We use that for a lot of stuff. I think just because you meant to use it on a floor.
and we have a lot of extra.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yep.
Yeah. And then if it slides wrong, you just wet some paper towel and stick it down on there, and then it doesn't slide anymore.
Exactly.
And then this guy is not bamboo flooring, but same idea. It's just a thing to hold them in place. It's tight enough. It's fine.
Yeah, works fine. And I will point out as well that our sanding station, which is wet, is right next to our nice computer and an outlet.
You mean sharpening station?
Yeah, our sharpening station is next to a computer. So moisture, electronics, moisture, electronics. And like it's not just the computer. There's like an outlet back here.
No, don't show them that. That's OSHA violations.
Yep, I'm gonna complain to somebody.
That's not too good to me.
Okay.
That's like a 2.
Wow. How are our opinions differing so much?
What were you gonna say?
I think you're kind of right. I'm gonna say a 3.
I think you have to weigh the functionality, the creativity in which you use materials, and the importance of the tool. Like to me, it just holds a stone. It's not like all that like critical.
Yeah, it's just kind of gross. I guess it's not that bad, like function wise. It's just this wet, moppy, gross like area next to our electronics.
Oh, you're talking about the station as a whole.
Yeah, I'm talking
Not
about the station
stone
as a
holder.
whole. Like the fixtures are fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the whole.
Yeah, you don't really want your computer station in your kitchen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Next.
Oh, how do I even explain what this is?
This one we gotta go outside. Come on, everybody.
Oh God, it's so bright.
This is our lovely.
Ooh, let me get a far shot of this.
This is our lovely sanding or sandblasting station.
This door, fancy. No.
Oh, we got a nice little hook back here to keep the door open. Oh, we had to strengthen the door. The door was literally a pile of garbage on the ground, and we kind of put it back together and then strengthened it so it actually like closed.
Well, the problem was for a long time we didn't have a door.
All right.
Because the storms tore down the original door, and then we never got around to it. And then every time it rained, it would just rain in there.
Yeah. And birds. Birds would, and I think we still have a bird's nest up there. We never cleaned it out. Yeah, so birds would set up in here. There's another one there. So yeah, we got a door for it, so the birds would not do that. And we moved a bunch of stuff around, and we put our sandblasting stations in here. This is the fine sandblast, which is glass.
Yeah, that's glass.
And then the heavy sandblast, which is silicon carbide.
We're playing around with materials. Don't know if they work or
Right.
not.
Yeah, it's all a mystery.
But check out the mounting for
Yeah.
this guy. Don't do that. You're gonna break it.
These are our special buckets that are for the little whirly
Oh,
dust
yeah,
collectors. This table is almost rusted completely through because we left it outside for years. But other than that, you can sandblast stuff in here. We actually got to level up a little bit. We added a humidity collector thing so that our compressor wouldn't blow wet crap instead of blowing dry sand. So, you know, improvements. Also,
how well would you say this works?
function, I'll give it a 7.
7 out of 10? That's
Yeah.
good.
No, that's bad.
Oh,
And comfort, I'll give it a 10.
10 is bad, right?
10
We're
is-
still on the scale of 10 is bad.
Oh my God, we gotta nail this down. Yes, 10 is bad.
Yeah.
It is terrible to sit at this thing, and this thing barely works, so you have to just sit at it for a really long time and sweat your ass off. And then also we should point out our home jerry-rigged tumbler. This is Don's invention. Would you know, it kind of almost works. It's an 8.
8 out of 10 overall for you?
Yeah, I hate it. I really hate it. It sucks.
We're slowly improving it. It used to be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it did.
It actually
is
used
better.
to be like a 15 out of 10 for ghetto.
I would say it's a 6 out of 10 if that weren't so close to the ground. If it were at that height, it would be so much more comfortable in there. Oh wait, what would you give it?
What would I give it? I think I would give it, it's a 9 out of 10 for me.
Wow. I think I'm gonna go with 9 too.
Yeah.
You convinced me.
It's 9 out of 10 for me. It used to be much worse actually, which is
Yeah.
the impressive part.
Yep. Next.
Oh wait, we gotta talk about how to get the
Oh yeah.
to get the air actually to go to the blaster.
All right. So here's our other utility shed.
This is how you get the air hose.
Oh shit.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Sam, you broke it.
Did I seriously? How did that even happen? All right, we'll fix it later. So anyway, I'm gonna set up the.
You don't have to set it up.
No, I know, but you just take your cord out like this, take it all the way in there, and you plug it in. Boop.
Yep.
And then you take your power cable, pull this sucker out, and very cool splice, very neat, super cool, super stable splice.
Don't worry too much. This is all temporary and it's changing very, very soon.
And then you just come over here and you plug her in.
But the nice thing is we have an outlet here.
We do have an outlet.
That is nice.
Plug her into there, and yeah, you got your compressor going. And then every time you're done, you get the pleasure of wrapping it all back out.
Next.
Next.
I did not really want to show anybody this. This bandsaw popped up on Craigslist for $70. And they said it worked, needed a little bit of tender loving care. And I thought to myself, well, it's a good sized middle sized bandsaw, right? It's not a portaband, it's not a do-wall, it's somewhere in between. And it's $70. Like, how bad could it be? And so Sam and I went up there, met this guy, and he was like, oh yeah, let me plug it in, let me show you everything. It works, cuts wood. I use it for woodworking and making weird sculptures. and
Yeah, he
stuff.
made like weird sex sculptures, right?
We didn't have to explain it like that, but yes, he did. And then he's like, oh, here's the one thing about this bandsaw. Don't laugh. So he unscrews this.
I'm honestly surprised he showed us. It was very honest of him.
He opens this and he's like, yeah, I got bicycle tires in there and filled them with a expanding foam.
Yeah, and this is the top wheel of the band. That is ghetto.
This is the whole thing that inspired this video. is
Yeah.
I looked at this and I was like, this is about as ghetto as it gets.
Yeah.
And then I thought, actually, we have a lot of other things that are fairly comparable. This definitely takes the cake.
Yeah, this is the worst thing.
I did buy it for $70.
Yep.
We've only used it like twice ever.
Yep.
So for now, it's an art piece that we might use here and there.
Yeah.
I will change the guides and the blade, and then we'll see how well or not it works. I mean, we've cut stuff with it before. It's just a little...
It doesn't throw blades immediately,
Yeah.
which is a miracle.
Yeah. And you can see, like, since this tire is smaller than the original wheels that it came with, like, the blade was running into here, so he was like, oh, I'll just hammer that out of the way.
Yeah.
It's got, like, a home, like, just a power switch for your house lights on there.
Yeah. And why the wheels? You know?
Apparently, he had the original wheels like 30 years ago.
Uh-huh.
They didn't work for him for some reason.
Oh, so this was an upgrade.
Yeah, it was.
Oh!
Yeah, it was an upgrade.
Wow.
He couldn't get the original wheels to work for some reason. I cannot imagine why this guy could not figure it out.
Right.
No idea. And he decided, you know what? I'm tired of those stupid solid wheels with proper rubber on them. I'm going to make my own wheels. And those are the ghetto things in the shop. I'm sure there are many other things, but those are the ones that came to mind.
Yeah. It used to be jankier.
It used to be jankier.
It used to be worse than this, if you can imagine it.
I can't close that, whatever. Yeah.
Okay, goodbye.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Subscribe and sign up for our Patreon.
Yep.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Any person who's at the top of their game is trying to make something new. Yeah. They're not trying to make the thing they used to make. They're trying to make something new. Yeah. So you shouldn't be too worried if other people are copying the old stuff, because you're off doing something fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing, especially when it came like Damascus patterns. All of a sudden, I was like, for a small period of time, I was like, holy shit, am I going to run out of ideas?
Yeah.
And the reality is just that my brain is constantly going and reverse engineering things I see out in the world, the patterns and shapes of things, of flowers, of trees, of carpet designs, and all kinds of stuff all over the place.
How the fuck did I do that? How do I get this back in? There it goes. Got it. Crisis averted. Could be worse. Next.